For the Indian men's cricket team, there is no cricketing action over the next month or so in India. But when play does resume, when the action does resume and the Indian team is back at home, it is going to be the series against England that's going to be the most looked after. The most sought after series is going to be the one against England, because India will face a very uphill task, even though India have been very dominant at home. But Brendan McCullum, with his brand of test cricket that we've all seen, it is going to be a big task. Brendan McCullum, by the way, has also taken cognizance of the fact that when England are to travel to India for that particular test series, it is perhaps going to be their real test. It's going to be their big test. But we're here to talk in depth. This is something that we told you earlier in our morning wrap as well. But before we get into what Brendan McCullum said, let's tell you about the numbers. Let's tell you how dominant this Indian team is at home and how good, by the way, Brendan McCullum and his England have also been since the time in 2022, roughly around the month of May, if I'm not wrong, when he took over as the head coach of the test team as far as England are concerned. How good have England been, and why this is going to be a unique sort of a challenge for the Indian team as well. We're going to be telling you that. We've broken down the numbers for you. We'll first have a look at those numbers and then tell you what exactly Brendan McCullum has said. Also along the way, I'll be telling you about how dominant India have been in test cricket at home for nearly a decade now. Now first, we need to talk about the Bazball effect. 18 matches since Brendan McCullum took over as the head coach and has been working very closely with Ben Stokes. They have brought about a revolution of sorts in terms of test cricket. But what's that really meant is, and it's translated very well as far as the numbers are concerned for England, reflects very well about the brand of cricket and how effective it's been for them. 18 matches so far, 13 won by England, just the 4 losses and only 1 drawn match. This 1 drawn match, by the way, also coming in Manchester in the recently concluded Ashes that took place just about a couple of months back prior to the World Cup. So this is what the numbers look like as far as England are concerned over the last year and a half of being trained under Brendan McCullum, and the brand of cricket really that they've played. It's aggressive. It is a brand of cricket that looks to enforce results. Things haven't gone their way as far as England are concerned a couple of times. The urge to induce a result has also cost them, if I'm not wrong. Let's just again go back to that Ashes series which took place a couple of months back. If it wasn't for that rather foolhardy and urgent sort of a declaration in the first test match, which was at Birmingham, if I'm not wrong, if it wasn't for that, then perhaps this series would have had a different complexion altogether. So again, it's backfired a couple of times. What will be England's approach when they're in India? That we will have to wait and watch. But over the last year and a half since Brendan McCullum has taken over, this is what we've done is the H's over there obviously in the brackets reflect the home series, and the A's over there in the bracket reflect the away series that England have played since the time Brendan McCullum took over as the coach. Now if you see, not a single series lost for England since the time that Brendan McCullum has taken over as the head coach. In the 5-day format of the game, in the red ball format of the game, not a single series lost by England since the time Brendan McCullum took over as the coach. 3 draws. By the way, this 1 draw, I must say over here, you should think of it with a bit of an asterisk. Ended in a draw. But as far as that 1 match is concerned, remember England were in fact trailing in that particular series 2-1 in 2021. But of course, because of COVID, then that series had to be broken up, and that 5th match was then held later on, where you had Brendan McCullum then come and take over. They won that 5th test match, which didn't take place earlier the previous year, by the way, because of COVID protocols and whatnot. But then they did make a comeback, England, and drew that series as well. So this one again was at home, South Africa. Then they won that series. Pakistan, they travelled earlier this year and won that series, one of those absolute belters that you got in Pakistan. A series drawn away from home against New Zealand, then the one against Ireland being won at home, and then this is the Ashes that again took place a couple of months back and was the other series that was drawn. But otherwise, the success rate for England speaks for itself as far as their performance in this new era of Bazball is concerned. Now the challenge ahead, they're coming to India, a team, by the way, that has not lost a single test series at home for a decade now. Not just losing, they have not even drawn a test series now, India at home, for little over a decade now. The last time around it happened 20. That's how dominant India have been at home when it comes to winning a home series. They've won all home series for the last 10 years, not even a single drawn test series at home. That's how dominant the Indian team have been. Yes, you could say that when you talk about close shaves, India were drawn, very close by, run very close, I should say, by Australia in 2016-17 when India needed that win in Dharamsala to be able to win that series. But besides that, Australia have come here a couple of times in the last decade. New Zealand have, Sri Lanka have, South Africa have. No team have been able to dethrone India at home when it comes to test cricket. So that's why when even England are here, it's going to be an uphill task for Brendan McCullum and his men. Let's quickly now tell you a bit more about what exactly has Brendan McCullum said when he talks about the challenge which is going to be faced for the England team when they are here, and why he raised this Indian team as the biggest test for Bazball. Very good Indian team in 5 tests in India. I'm excited about it because you want to test yourself against the very best side, and I genuinely believe that India are the best in their own conditions. So he feels that there is no better side than India when playing at home. We'll quickly just wrap it up by telling you what more did he say on this. He said that it is going to be a good challenge for us. If we have success, then fabulous. If we don't, then I know we will go on to go down in. So those are the words coming in from Brendan McCullum. He realizes how big a challenge it's going to be for his side to go ahead and win a test series, that too in India, a team, by the way, that have not lost a single test series in a little over a decade now. How exactly does that pan out? Perhaps you could say how India perform in South Africa may have a role to play in terms of giving India momentum or determining what sort of psyche India are in when that series against England begins just a couple of weeks after the test series in South Africa. Hence, that we'll have to wait and watch. But McCullum definitely not taking India lightly, realizing the fact that this is a team which are very good at home, and perhaps that's why England will really have to pull their A game if they are to create history in many ways and perhaps capture that final frontier as far as Bazball is concerned, and lay down a big marker if in world cricket by defeating India in India. Nobody's been able to do that for a little over a decade now. Can Brendan McCullum and his men series